This is my 1949 Daimler Barker DB18 Special Sports 2.5 liter drop head coupe. I've often thought only the British could name a car like that. This car I've owned for 5 years. It came to me from the collection of a collector, a gentleman who has been collecting specifically high-end British cars for most of his life. He's had as many as 16 cars, mostly Bentley, Rolls-Royce, and of course Daimler, which is what you're looking at. He pretty much restricted himself to British cars. And this, of all the cars, was the last one he hung on to. He kept this car until very close to his death. And when it came time to prepare, he did not ask me if I was interested in the car. He informed me that I was going to take this car from him when he kicked the bucket. His exact words. So here I am. I am the owner of the only copy of this car in Canada. There's no other DB18 Special Sports. There's a couple of other DB18s which are similar, but they're not the Special Sports version. So,
action.
Okay. It'll start right up. There you go.
Action.
Okay. This, all the gauges, of course, right in front of you. This, however, is a unique transmission. This is a Wilson pre-selector. It was used in one American car I know of, the Cord, and it's, as I say, pre-selector. Choose the gear that you want to go into first, then this third pedal on the floor, if you can see it. There's 3 pedals: gas, brake. That is not, Jay Leno, if you're listening, that is not a clutch pedal. That is a gear change pedal. It's in gear. Ta-da! Now it behaves like an automatic until you shift again.
Rolling.
So when this car was new, it cost more than a house in London. I was told, this is probably exaggerated, but I was told that for the price of this car new, you could buy a house, a Jaguar XK 120, a Morris Minor to drive in the winter, and still have enough money left over to buy a garage to put all of the cars in, hire a crew to build it, and put a new set of gates on this wonderful mansion you must be living in. So, back to the transmission. Here's how you shift gears. Hands on the wheel. I've already pre-selected the gear I want to go in next. I hit the pedal, the third pedal, not the clutch. It's a gear change pedal again. In, out, done, you're shifted. If you feather that and you treat it like a clutch, you'll ruin the transmission, and you're not going to find another one very easily. Smooth as silk, eh? This was King George VI's choice of personal transportation. Most people know that all the royals, even the Queen, drives herself quite famously. Prince Philip drives himself and hits people and crashes his Range Rover. But Queen's still pretty adept. But her father had one of these, which I find quite amusing because at the time the most expensive car in the world required, after sitting for a little while, that you pop the bonnet and push the valve, it's a button, on the carburetor, and you press it until you get petrol on your fingertips. So right away, the King of England has grease on his hands before he can start his own car. I find that very amusing. The cheapest car in the world doesn't make you do that anymore. Here's top gear.
start here.
All right. It's not what you call a fast car, but you could say that it proceeds with dignity. I think since pretty much the beginning of owning this car, it has been a trophy winner. It has won numerous best in shows. Last show was best in class, best in show, 2 trophies. It's come in a field of 1,400 cars, British Car Day. It got noticed, and I got, let's see, we took home a couple of plaques for that, from British Car Day for this. Absolutely, it's amazing. After 70 years, you can still feel what the car is supposed to be. First time this car was recognized was at an Earls Court show in England, in London, in 1969. The Daimler Club in England has a record of this show. I believe they said it won a first place. So in 1969, it was barely a classic. It was still a respected, recognized car, but it was not yet really a classic. It was probably, you'd call it a modern classic if you had the term back then, but it is it was really just an old car. Excuse me. Driving this thing doesn't just take you back in time in your imagination. It actually brings you back completely. This goes back to a time when you have to be completely involved with your car. You can't drive this thing half asleep. You can't drive a car like this with any kind of distraction. Don't even think about it. This car requires your full attention at all times. You have to plan everything. You have to plan when you're going to shift gears. You're going to have to plan ahead, and you might have to stop. There's a very, very little power with 86 horsepower, and you're moving 3,600 pounds with only 86 horsepower. You really have to plan every move you make. Changing lanes is a challenge because people are always looking at you, but it sure is an amazing experience. There's my foot right to the floor. You need a calendar to time it 0 to 60. What a treat. From the top down, and very, very similar to English weather, I guess, at the time. It just feels like it's made to coddle somebody as you enjoy a trip down the country lanes. Well, those lesser common people in their minis and Morris Oxfords. What a lovely car. It has a little more than 50,000 original miles on it. It has been well taken care of. It's been run its entire life. It's never, in 70 years, it's never been off the road. The only time it was ever in for a major service was the factory. In 1959, it got sent back to the factory to have the cylinder head replaced with a higher compression version. And so maybe we have 87 horsepower now, who knows? But it's quite an incredible story for this. Now I'm going forward and I selected reverse. Gear change pedal. In, out, right away. Forward gear. Jaguar bought Daimler in 1960, and by the mid-60s there was no true Daimler cars left. The closest car to a real Daimler was the 420 DS, which is, if you remember the wedding of Princess Diana, or they still use DS 420 limousines for a few things. It has the famous Daimler fluted grille, but even that car is, and I said it's the closest thing to a real Daimler, is actually based on a Jaguar Mark 10 420G chassis. So when 1960, when Jaguar bought Daimler, they did it because they wanted the factory space that Daimler had. For the record, V12 Jaguar engines, for the most part, were built in the old Daimler factory, Coventry. But in 1959, they had a Daimler 250 Dart. Now, the Dart name was dropped because Chrysler was using Dart for one of their models, the Dodge Dart. But nevertheless, the nickname Dart sticks. The Dart was a V8 small fiberglass bodied sports car. A decent rival to the E-Type, but not very well put together. It had some bugs that needed to be worked out. But Jaguar essentially killed it because it wasn't a Jaguar. It didn't have a Jaguar engine. And well, let's face it, the Dart wasn't very pretty. They made the last real Daimler was a Majestic Major, which was a very fast, very stodgy, gigantic saloon. And detractors called it a funeral car. What do they say? A fast funeral car, or a racing funeral car, something to that effect. Well, this is absolutely perfect Daimler weather. We can drive all day like this. Absolutely amazing. And I could probably talk all day on this, but that would be stupid because no one is going to watch a video about a car they've never heard of for hours and hours on end. So with that, my foot is to the floor, and I hope you enjoyed this.